Being born into the world, we have no idea who we are, no concrete identity, nor do we have any understanding of the world and about how reality really functions. John Locke's claim was that each of us is born as a totally blank slate, without any preconceived ideas about the world. It's over time that we create an ego, an identity for ourselves, and develop a set of beliefs about how it is the world operates. Before this occurs though, before we construct our own personal ego, there was a time when the world had no limits, and life felt truly magical. As a kid, when we would play games, our imagination was so powerful and our minds so free that reality could be anything we wanted it to be. Role-playing as an explorer, a spaceman, a diver, an artist, a dancer, a singer, whatever it was, reality had no limits. Gradually, as we age, we settle on ideas about who we are and what we have to be and what we have to do. As a kid, we started to adopt labels about who we were. For example, a smart kid at school or one who was falling behind, a hyper kid or one who was too quiet, a popular kid with lots of friends or the lonely quiet one. These specific labels become part of our identity and influence how we see ourselves and the people around us. These labels accumulate gradually over all areas of our lives, from our understanding of ourselves to our understanding of other people to the external world, nature, politics, and so on. These ideas, labels, and categories become the basis of how we understand and interact with the world. They define what subjects we are good at and bad at, whether it be maths, sciences, the arts, or creative subjects, and what our character is like. For example, being an introvert, an extrovert, being more driven, or being more passive and laid back. As we enter adulthood and the later stages of our lives, we have gone through this process of creating an ego for ourselves, an identity composed of all these different thoughts about how the world works and who we are. The way we define ourselves, or more specifically, the way we define our ego, influences who we interact with, what political view we take, what media we expose ourselves to, who we like and dislike, what metaphysical views we have about the world, and so on. Since our ego tells us which ideas are right and which ones are wrong, we gain a sense of control or understanding about the world around us. We know that we have the right political views and that the other group has it wrong. We know that science is all we need to understand questions about the universe. We know that if one gets a high-paying job, then one will be happy in time. Our ego can appear so solid and real that we forget it is just construction and a fabrication. And lying underneath this ego is that childhood innocence, purity, and love for life that every person once had. Over time, this becomes clouded and lost to us, no more than a distant memory with no hope of it ever returning. However, I believe this childhood joy and love for the world can be uncovered once again if we learn to take a step back from our egos and stop pretending that we know everything and know everyone, and learn to see the beauty in not knowing, in accepting there is so much we don't know and can never know, and there is something amazing, awe-inspiring and magical about that. Appreciating the beauty of the unknown is a direct path back to this childhood curiosity and joy that can open our hearts to the world and people around us and make our lives magical once again. There are three main unknowns I want to speak about in this series, and these are the other, nature, and finally, the self. Today, we'll look at the other. The other is a philosophical term with some depth behind it, but it can just be thought of in this video as another person. So the other is who we interact with when we interact with another person. What is the ego and what are its dangers? As we age, most of us develop a strong sense of identity, a strong ego, and with a strong sense of ego comes a strong sense of right and wrong. As Eckhart Tolle puts well, the ego needs problems, conflict, and enemies to strengthen the sense of separateness on which its identity depends. Me and my group are right. That other group are wrong. They are mistaken, and they don't understand me and the right way of doing things. This type of thinking is seen most clearly in politics, where all the members of the opposing group are seen as wrong, corrupt, misinformed, evil, and so on. The people who differ from us politically or in some other domain of life, such as health, fitness, career, whatever it may be, are reduced to these derogatory labels. Similarly, it is likely that they also reduce us to these labels. This reduction of each other to labels prevents any genuine communication from occurring, since there is no desire to listen, no openness of the heart from either side. Why would we listen to what the other person is saying if we know that them and their philosophy is wrong? At least we think we know this. This attitude closes our hearts, makes genuine connection with others impossible, makes us caught up in our own ego, and makes life feel like a constant battle with our enemies. Isn't it a coincidence how everyone thinks that they are right and their group is the only one with good intentions? We think that it is other people who are mistaken, but why are we so quick to judge and come to this conclusion? We make our own opinions because of our whole complex life history, our upbringing, our emotions, our goals, our desires in life, what we think will make the world a better place, and so many other complex factors. Behind all our reasons lie good intentions, and for us that is clear to see. Other people are just like this, even those that you most fervently disagree with. They have a life of their own. They have a depth to their opinions, and going deeper, behind all the opinions and labels, they are human, just like you. They have the same childhood joy and love for the world hidden beneath many, many layers. To really connect with someone, we need to go deeper than the surface level opinions and see who they really are, where they really come from, how they are just like us. In other words, we need to interact with them at a level much deeper than the shallow, egoic level that we have constructed for ourselves and others. As Eckhart Tolle puts it, my mind cannot know you, only labels, judgments, facts, and opinions about you. The ego operates at the level of the mind, but we need to go deeper to the level of the heart. In our interactions with people, we need to be there, listening with an open heart. Interacting with someone with a closed heart will do no good. It will make them defensive and prevent genuine connection and communication from occurring. But with an open heart, we can connect with others on a level deeper than that of the mind, which is composed of labels, categories, and theories. And instead, we can connect with them on a spiritual level, where we recognize our shared intentions and our desire to return to a state of undiluted happiness that we all experienced as children. It is only with an open heart and an ability to truly listen that we can uncover this shared truth in others and be good, loving people that make everyday life a beautiful thing and make the world a better, more loving place. What do I mean when I say the unknown in the other? So the unknown I'm referring to here is the implicit impossibility of ever fully understanding another person. There is always something about them that we cannot grasp. We can never be entirely in their shoes. It's impossible. We will never truly know what it is like to be them. Like Eckhart Tolle said earlier, we can know lots about a person, but can never know them directly. But this fact that the other is ultimately unknowable is not something to be feared. It does not entail that we are forever separate from the other and can never be close to them. It just means that if we interact with them on an egoic level, my ego interacting and trying to comprehend yours, then it is a losing battle from the start, because another person is not their ego. They are what lies beyond their ego. Even though this is masked, if we learn to come from a selfless place, not attached to our egos, then we can inspire others to do the same and inspire them to see what lies beneath their constructed ego. In order for genuine connection, one must go past this level of the ego. One must see what lies deeper. They must see back to their true self, their childhood innocence and joy, and connect with others on this deeper, more profound, authentic and spiritual level that is so much more fundamental than our fabricated egos. Why do I say beauty of the unknown when the unknown can be scary, threatening, or anxiety-inducing? So, the unknown is only scary to the ego. If we have a strong ego, when we encounter something unknown about the world or about other people, it undermines our sense of control of the world around us. We panic and quickly try to explain it away and use our predetermined philosophy to make sense of it. The unknown makes our egos feel small and vulnerable, weaker than we initially expected. However, we have seen the amazing potential that lies hiding behind the level of the ego. When we learn to detach from our egos, we can recognize that we are part of this whole dynamic around us. We are one with the world, with others, with the universe. And this is a beautiful thing. We are not separate from any of these as our ego has made us think. It's scary for the ego to recognise that it cannot keep controlling the world, so it constantly and tirelessly fights to feel like it has some sense of control over everything around it. But one of the first spiritual truths is to learn how to surrender and let go, how to relax into the moment. By meditating, it becomes immediately clear as to how your mind is constantly and endlessly working to make sense of everything that is going on around you. Life becomes beautiful again as soon as you learn to let go and surrender this sense of control. As Michael Singer puts it, it is important to recognise that you cannot control the world. You are merely watching it. You are not your ego. You are not the one in control. You are what lies underneath that. You are the one that sees the ego. Learn to return to this self, the one more fundamental than the ego. What does this appreciation of the unknown do to us? So it can do many things, and the only way to really know is to directly experience it for yourself by learning to see past each other's egos, to surrender control, and to relax into the present moment. What can happen is that reality can feel magical again, like it did a long time ago when we were children. It allows for an authentic exploration into the world around us with no preconceived biases. It allows us to genuinely connect with all different types of people, not just limiting our circle to those who parrot out our own views and ideas. By learning to listen, to truly listen, we can help others return to this state also. As Stephen West and Byung-Chul Han said, we ought to become a resonance chamber for the other person to speak themselves free. Also, appreciating and embracing the unknown weakens the ego, in turn allowing us to live more mindfully. It's a compound effect. If the ego is weakened, we see more of the beauty and unity that is ever present in the world, which in turn weakens our strong sense of ego even more, and the cycle repeats until eventually the ego is eliminated entirely, what some call the first stage of enlightenment. If we don't try to control everything and we can just sit with the things around us, we become more content and at peace every day of our lives. And is this not the end goal entirely? To be happy, joyful, to feel at peace, and to have made the world a better, more loving and connected place. We think this lies at the end of our lives after having worked for decades straight, but we don't need to wait this long to experience joy and happiness. It's accessible to us right here and now. We just need to know where and how to look. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found some of the ideas insightful. As always, do comment any thoughts you had about the video down below, and I look forward to seeing you for the next video. Thank you very much, and goodbye.